Is SUI the Solana of this cycle? That is the question we're answering in today's video, guys. My name is Gordon Frayne. Welcome back to the channel. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below. Hit that subscribe button as well. And if you want to get notified about similar videos, smash that bell notification icon. And don't forget to grab your completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin. It's linked down below this video in the description. Grab it while it's free. It's my gift to you. And let's get into the video. So, SUI has been on an absolute run for the past couple of months. We've seen it significantly rising in price. And if we jump over very quickly to CoinMarketCap, we can see that in the past 1 month alone, SUI has gained 117%. We're currently sitting at a new all-time high price of $2.23 here in the middle of October 2024. And a lot of the stuff that's going on with SUI is leading me to wonder and question if SUI really is the Solana of this cycle. We saw Solana make huge gains back in 2020 and 2021, going up dramatically in price from December of 2020 all the way through to the peak of the market 1 year later. Can SUI replicate the same type of gains that Solana did in the previous cycle? Well, today we're diving in to explain more about SUI and the SUI blockchain. So if you're not familiar, guys, we've already done plenty of videos about SUI on the channel. I will leave links in the corner of this video for those, but you can check them out on the channel as well. But if you're not already familiar with what SUI is, it is a layer 1 blockchain solution that is aiming to deliver the benefits of Web 3 with the ease of Web 2. So as a layer 1 blockchain solution, SUI is essentially a competitor to the likes of Solana, Ethereum, Caspa, Bitcoin, etc. And it's trying to pave the way for, making it much more simple and efficient to interact with this new version of the web, Web 3, and making it do that with the ease of use of the applications that we're so used to in the Web 2 world. So again, scalable infrastructure that is fast, secure, and affordable. Again, SUI is trying to be a very high throughput blockchain with huge transactions per second. You can see they're quoting 297,000 TPS transactions per second at its peak with a time to finality of 400 milliseconds. So we've seen a huge amount of growth with the SUI ecosystem over the past year, and we're seeing a lot more protocols being built out within the SUI ecosystem as well. We're going to be diving into some of those protocols and showing you exactly what they are in a moment. But again, just giving you the insight and the general overview of what SUI is, first and foremost, we're seeing lots of growth, not just in terms of DeFi, but in terms of, transactions, in terms of daily active addresses, in terms of wallets being used within SUI and their native blockchain. It's increasing day over day, week over week, month over month. We also had a couple of big pieces of news in the past month or two. We saw the launch of the Grayscale SUI Trust. So Grayscale are one of the Bitcoin ETF issuers that were approved earlier in January of this year, and a lot of positive sentiment around the fact that Grayscale has now launched a SUI Trust product for their investors, institutional and retail investors, to continue and start purchasing SUI as part of the Grayscale SUI Trust. So a very big kind of stamp of approval from one of the world's leading asset managers, Grayscale, in terms of their, backing and the amount of weight that they are putting behind SUI as, a front runner, as a new digital asset within the crypto ecosystem. And another very big piece of news that has just actually began to happen in the past couple of weeks is the fact that USDC, Circle, have started to mint native Circle tokens on the SUI blockchain for USDC. So up until now, what was having to be done was you were having to use wormhole wrapped USDC on the SUI blockchain. However, Circle have also seen a lot of potential in what SUI are doing, as have decided, okay, similar to how we mint USDC on Solana and on Ethereum, it is now time to actually natively mint USDC on the SUI blockchain rather than having to use a wrapped version of USDC on SUI. So again, another very big stamp of approval from Circle, a very well-established business and company within the crypto ecosystem, for them to give SUI the stamp of approval and for them to put their reputation on the line and start minting native USDC on the SUI network. So very exciting stuff. Typically what this means is more liquidity coming into the space, and it's easier now for people to send and interact with stablecoins directly on SUI's network. And when we saw in the previous cycle, the ease of liquidity with stablecoins leads to more capital flowing into the entire crypto ecosystem. And if it's easier to transact and use USDC on SUI, we're likely to see more liquidity flowing into SUI as a result. Again, in previous videos, we spoke about the fact that the SUI team is actually made up of a number of the people and the engineers that left Facebook and Meta for the engineering team that were working on the Libra cryptocurrency. So if you remember a few years ago, Facebook were trying to launch the Libra cryptocurrency, a native cryptocurrency from Facebook itself. It basically got shut down. The team that were working on the Libra cryptocurrency within Facebook actually split and left Facebook. A number of the team members went to create SUI, and a number of the other team members went on to create Cosmos. So a number of the people you can see, like Evan Cheng, Sam Blackshear, you can see staff engineer at Meta, technical lead at Apple, director of engineering at Meta. So a number of the people behind SUI are leading engineers with huge amounts of experience in the world's biggest companies like Apple, like Meta, like Facebook, like Microsoft. Very exciting people behind the project who have worked in, very large corporations, and, they have the experience in the tech world for scaling businesses. So lots of exciting stuff going on with the people who are actually behind the SUI project and the founding team that are working on it. So again, a lot of institutional investment has come into SUI over the past number of years as a result of the people, the quality and the caliber of the team being from Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, etc. Hugely successful engineers. They've managed to raise a huge amount of funding from some of the leading venture capital firms, not just in the crypto space, but in the general tech space overall. So the likes of A16Z, you've got Samsung Next, you've got Slow Ventures, Coinbase Ventures. We won't mention FTX, but we've got Coinbase Ventures and Binance Labs as well. So lots of exciting investors. And, yes, there is this kind of concern that, because there's so many investors, they're going to be looking to dump tokens on retail investors later in the cycle. But, we will be looking at an example in a moment where we saw huge amounts of unlocks with Solana in the previous cycle. And despite the fact that so many more tokens were coming into circulation, the demand and the purchasing power of that demand continued to drive price upwards, even though there was a lot more tokens coming into circulation. So in the previous video we made about SUI for our price prediction, SUI was at a price here of about $1.72. As we mentioned at the start of this video, we're currently sitting at $2.24, a new all-time high price for SUI. You can see that previously we did manage to get up to $2.08 at the end of March this year. We're currently sitting at a new all-time high of $2.24. So jumping back over here, you can see that currently we've only got about let's see what it is right now. We've got 2.76 billion SUI in circulation. My apologies. We did have an unlock recently, and there is a number of unlocks scheduled for SUI over the course of the next 12 months. But as I said, the example with Solana, looking over here very quickly, we saw huge amounts of unlocks with Solana back in 2020 and 2021. In September of 2020, there was only 33 million Solana tokens in circulation, and the price, you can see, was just above $3. By the time we got to January 2021, we had 261 million SOL in circulation, and the price was even larger at $3.46, despite the fact that we had such a huge multiplication in circulating supply. And again, by the time we got to March and November, by November we were up over 302 million Solana tokens in circulation, but the price had skyrocketed all the way from $3.40 in January to $249 by November of this year. So, those token unlocks that are scheduled for SUI, they are a known variable, and we can see that in the SUI circulating supply over the course of the next 12 months. We're going to be seeing more token unlocks happening. You can see, as we move towards this mark here, which is around October of 2025, it's looking like we're going to have about 3.6 billion SUI tokens in circulation, up in increasing from 2.76 billion where we are at today. So we are going to see an increase. We know that. That is a known variable, but what we don't know is how much demand we're going to be seeing, not just from institutional investors, but from retail investors, over the course of the next 9 to 12 months, as we see more retail capital flowing in after that institutional money comes in from, off of the bond markets, moving from risk off assets into risk on assets as the result of the introduction of rate cuts from the Federal Reserve in the middle of September. We're going to be seeing more capital flowing to risk on assets and more people putting money into assets like SUI. SUI has been a front runner, especially since Bitcoin got back above the 60K level a few weeks ago. SUI is up over 100% in the past 1 month, a crazy amount of gains, and it's showing itself as a leading indicator for altcoins in the market after Bitcoin makes small moves. So, we talked about all of this in our previous price prediction video, and we talked about the fact that, there is this opportunity for SUI to continue to move up in price despite the fact that there is more tokens entering circulation, similar to Solana, as long as the demand side is strong enough. So, we talked about lots of different things happening within the SUI ecosystem, and arguably there is a lot more build out in terms of applications, decentralized applications and protocols in SUI's ecosystem compared to where Solana was at this time in the previous cycle. So again, we can jump over and we can look at protocols and dexes like Turbo's Finance, for example. This is a decentralized exchange native to the SUI blockchain. We've got wallets we can use like SUI Wallet, where we can add funds and we can interact with decentralized protocols like Turbos. Again, we can use Turbos to buy and sell different tokens that are native to the SUI blockchain. We can purchase SUI directly here. We can swap SUI for different assets like USDC or wrapped USDC. You can see the native version is right here thanks to the past few weeks. We're even seeing the emergence of different meme coins on the SUI blockchain with the likes of Blob and the likes of, these other meme coins that are being built out like Husky. So, lots of exciting stuff happening and a lot of similarities of what has been happening on, let's say, Solana over the past number of years. Again, Turbos is one example. We can even earn yield. We can supply liquidity onto decentralized exchanges into specific trading pools for SUI USD, for example, and we can add liquidity to a pool like this. And again, we can set our range. We can add concentrated liquidity. And you can see if we're supplying liquidity in this concentrated range, we're going to earn 306% APR. So again, I'm showing you all of this just to show you how sophisticated and built out SUI's network and ecosystem is already, compared to what Solana was like in the previous cycle. We've got other decentralized applications and other dexes just like Cetus. So Cetus is basically a competitor to Turbos that we just looked at. It's another decentralized exchange that is native to the SUI blockchain. Again, we can swap tokens here on SUI and exchange them for different SUI native assets. Again, similar to Turbos, we can provide liquidity here. We can go into the pools area and we can supply liquidity to different trading pairs like SUI wrapped USDC. We can earn 198% here by supplying concentrated liquidity to this particular trading pair. Again, we can even earn 16% by supplying liquidity to two stable coins, USDT and wrapped USDC. Again, two stable assets, USDC, USDT, and we can earn 16% per year by supplying liquidity into that trading pair. So again, lots of stuff built out here in terms of decentralized exchanges on the SUI network. Two other protocols we're going to look at very quickly. We've got Navi Protocol. Navi Protocol is a lending borrowing protocol native to the SUI blockchain. So again, just like you have Aave, the lending borrowing protocol on Ethereum, or Camino, the lending borrowing protocol for Solana, you've got the likes of Navi protocol here on SUI. So again, what you can do is you can lend your SUI and you can earn 4.2% as a result of supplying SUI here on Navi protocol. What does that mean? Well, it means we can earn additional yield. If we're holding SUI as part of, our portfolio, we could park it here in Navi and we could earn an extra 4%. But the real power of a protocol like Navi comes with the fact that you can actually borrow against your SUI as collateral. So if we post up SUI here in the supply side on Navi protocol, we can borrow a stable coin like USDT against that SUI up to a loan to value ratio of somewhere in the region of 70 or 80%. Now, I don't recommend doing 70 or 80%. I think borrowing in the region of 30 or 40% loan to value ratio would be much more advisable. Again, this is not financial advice, but the power of the protocol here is that if we have SUI as part of our portfolio, we can firstly earn that additional 4.2%, but then we can also borrow stablecoin against it and put that stablecoin to work. We could actually buy more SUI with that stablecoin, or we could put it to work in liquidity pools over on Cetus or on Turbos to earn this additional 197%, for example, by supplying liquidity to this particular trading pair. Again, Navi protocol, one of the leading decentralized protocols for lending and borrowing on SUI. And finally, looking at SUI Lend, another borrow lend protocol here on SUI. Obviously, SUI Lend, the name is a bit of a hint here, but we can see, again, similar to Navi protocol, we can supply SUI, we can earn yield of about 4.39% by supplying and lending SUI here on SUI Lend's protocol. And then again, we can borrow stablecoin or borrow other assets against SUI as the collateral that we're providing on the protocol. So again, lots of exciting stuff, lots of protocols that are being built out on SUI's blockchain. And again, I wanted to kind of highlight all of this because of the fact that SUI is reminding me a lot of Solana in the previous cycle, but the fact that it's also even further along in its journey in terms of infrastructure, protocols, and decentralized applications that have actually been built out that thousands and thousands of people are already using. So lots of exciting stuff happening in the SUI ecosystem. And finally, looking at our updated or most recent price prediction for SUI, we always give you a bear case, base case, and bull case scenario. So in our most recent update, what we've got here is a bear case showing us if the total crypto market cap goes to about 4 trillion US dollars, and if SUI dominance can get up to a 0.6% dominance level, that's not going to be too hard for SUI, I think, given the fact that SUI's dominance has been on such an accelerated uptrend. Let's bring up the chart here very quickly just to show you how much of a rip SUI's dominance has been on. Just look at that performance in terms of SUI continuing to eat into the market share of the entire crypto market cap, going from 0.11% dominance just a month ago to 0.29% dominance here today. So SUI's dominance is already ripping towards this 0.6% dominance level that we think it can get to in a bear case scenario. That means that SUI would have a market cap of around 24 billion by the peak. And as we alluded to a few minutes ago, the amount of SUI that are going to be in circulation by October of 2025 is going to be in the region of 3.6 billion according to their emissions schedule. That means if we divide 24 billion by 3.6 billion, we do get a price target of $6.66 in a bear case scenario. In a base case, what we're saying is the total crypto market cap goes to about $6 trillion. SUI could get up to a 0.8% dominance level. I think this is very achievable, especially when we look at this chart here. And that means that we would have a market cap around $48 billion for SUI. Dividing it by 3.6 billion SUI tokens gives us a $13.33 price target. And finally, in a bull case scenario, what we're saying is the total crypto market cap could go to around 8 trillion US dollars. If SUI can hit that 1% dominant level, that would give us an $80 billion market cap. And again, dividing it by 3.6 billion SUI tokens gives us a $22 $2.22 price target for SUI, which is a bit under a 15x from today's prices right now, but it's basically a 10x from the price that we're at here at $2.24. So lots of exciting stuff going on within the SUI ecosystem. You know, huge amounts of decentralized applications and protocols already built out. And I think as more people flow into SUI's ecosystem, you know, we're going to be seeing more capital flowing into SUI from a TVL perspective as well. And if we actually jump over to DeFi Llama very, very quickly and look at the chains here, we can see that SUI has been making moves up 56% in terms of 1 month change in overall TVL. And a big part of this is being helped by the fact that Circle are now printing and minting USDC on SUI's blockchain. Again, just look at this increase here since, you know, August of this year. Look at this increase going from this level of 450 million in TVL up above 1.12 billion where we are at today. So lots of exciting stuff going on with all of the charts and trends, just looking at the growth of the TVL, looking at the growth of the price over the past month, looking at the growth in the dominance level over the past month. All of these charts are pointing towards SUI being a leader in this cycle, and lots of exciting growth happening in its ecosystem because of the fact that the dApps are there. People are ready to deploy capital. You can use these apps very easily, very seamlessly, and the ecosystem is waiting for more capital to flow in. So that is it for today's video. Lots of exciting stuff happening on SUI. Let us know in the comments below, are you bullish on SUI? Where do you think the price of SUI is going to by the peak of the cycle? And are you holding SUI in your portfolio? As always, if you enjoy the content, please smash that thumbs up button below. Hit that subscribe button as well. And if you want to get notified about similar videos, smash that bell notification icon. And don't forget to grab your free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin. It's linked below this video in the description. Grab it while it's free. It's my gift to you, and we'll catch you in the next one.